Saturday morning, the Experts program kicks off here on Power Talk Radio, 1460 and 101 FM. And Luis Alvarez, CEO of the Alvarez Technology Group, is the guy that always gets to kick things off for us on Saturday mornings. Good morning to you, Luis.
Good morning, Mark. How are you doing this week?
Doing pretty good. Hey, we've got a big weekend here in Monterey. It's the annual Rock and Rods Festival. Of course, it's a charity benefit, the Gateway Center of Pacific Grove, where I am this morning, because, full disclosure, Luis and I tape these programs on Friday mornings, but today, all day, I'm going to be down on the Alvarado Mall there at the Customs House Plaza with all the other classic car aficionados. And I think we got about 175 classic cars that are going to be on display down in the plaza and on the mall all day today. And then there's free entertainment. Big Brother and the Holding Company, if you remember them, they are the headline act today. And a local favorite, Red Beans and Rice, is performing.
Love those guys.
Yes.
Yeah, those are great.
Jeremy Pierce, he is one of the world's best Elvis impersonators, and they bring him every year. He's so popular. He comes out every year, and boy, he really has the act down pat. He does the black leather Elvis and the white jumpsuit Elvis. He's a little shorter than Elvis. I think he's only about 5'11". I think Elvis was 6'2", But in all other respects, he looks and sounds like the king.
Excellent. Well, we will have to get down there and take a look. We have no plans today other than a hike this morning. So sounds like fun.
And he does say, thank you very much. Should be a fun time. Hey, the Google engineer who sees their company's AI as sentient thinks chatbots have a soul. This is a story that we're plucking from NPR. Wow. Chatbots and AI with a soul and sentient beings. Can artificial intelligence come alive? What do you think, Luis?
Well, this story started last week with a lot of speculation about, is Google covering something up? And this engineer was put on administrative leave after he went public, which is with his thoughts that one of the Google's experimental chatbots, something called Lambda, he felt was displaying signs of basically being alive, being sentient. And there's a test called the Turing test, which was postulated by Alan Turing way back when computers were starting just to become a thing in the 1950s. And even back then, we're saying, at some point, computers might be alive, might be sentient, might be able to do things that humans can do. So he came up with a test that is a very simplistic test. And it's been, over the years, a lot of AI has been able to successfully pass the test, if you will. But that doesn't mean that they're alive. And Google has come out and said, look, yes, this is a very, very smart machine that was designed to respond just like, think of it as autocorrect on steroids, right? It anticipates based on statistics what you are going to ask it, and it has answers for you right away. And, whether one can argue that that's sentience or not, the reality is that Google is saying it's not that big a deal. And a lot of people agree with them.
Well, what do you think?
Well, I think that the technology for artificial intelligence is really starting to kind of bleed into certain areas that we would think of as signs of life. How does it know that I want this thing, or how does it know that I want that thing? But the reality is that many of us today are victims of very sophisticated marketing AI, for example, that anticipates our needs just based on our behaviors. That doesn't make them alive and sentient. That just makes them really, really well programmed and good at doing the analytics behind human behavior. And so the fact that you might be online looking at tents, just talking about camping on Facebook with your friends, and all of a sudden you start getting a bunch of emails about camping equipment. That doesn't mean that somebody was overhearing your conversation or your computer knows who you are and what you like. It just means that the algorithms out there were able to put two and two together and give you statistically what is most likely what you're looking for.
Right.
So I think we're not there yet, but I personally feel like we are going to get there at some point.
Yeah. It just seems like at this point, we're still really, for AI to work, it has to be programmed by a human, because it is not at this point capable of independent thought or action. Everything that a bot does, it can do because it was programmed to a certain algorithm, unlike you or me, who can independently conjure things up in our brain that are completely unrelated to the previous thought that we had.
Exactly.
And then we can take action on that, whereas a bot cannot yet do that.
And I don't think we're going to be there probably in the next 10 years. I think that we'll get better. The technology will get better. For example, I just got a new car, and a navigation system is much more responsive and less computerish than the last one. But that doesn't make it alive. That just means that they've gotten the algorithms down better, and it's able to interpret my voice much smoother than it could in the past.
Luis Alvarez, CEO of the Alvarez Technology Group, has been our guest today. Online, it's alvareztg.com. @AlvarezTG is the Twitter handle. And Luis, the toll-free number for the I-Team.
Give us a call at 866-78-I-Team. That's 866-784-8326.
And looking ahead to Monday, we're going to be talking about some new competition for Salinas Valley growers. Give us a preview.
Yeah, there's some companies out there on the East Coast that are starting to really promote and publicize indoor farming, and that might impact our farming traditions out here.
So check it out. That'll be this Monday morning, beginning in the 8 o'clock hour here on Power Talk Radio. Thank you, Luis.
Take care, my friend.